Chosen, the power of not forcing and trusting in God's flow. There comes a time in the life of the chosen when everything feels stuck. The doors don't open, the paths don't move forward, and no matter how much effort is made, nothing seems to be enough. But what many interpret as failure, God may be using as a season of preparation. Because sometimes the greatest act of faith is not to move forward, but to stop. It's not about doing more, but about letting go. The soul of the chosen was not created to live in the anxiety of the world, but in the confidence of heaven. There are moments when God interrupts our plans and calls us to rest in Him, not as a punishment, but as a divine strategy to align us with His rhythm. And His rhythm, many times, is slower than ours, but it's wiser, deeper, and infinitely more secure. You who have been set apart, you who feel the calling, you must understand this. The waiting time is not wasted time. Waiting is also part of the divine process. There are seeds that can only grow in silence. There are visions that only become clear in the stillness. Even Jesus often withdrew to solitary places to pray, not because of weakness, but because of connection. He knew that without intimacy with the Father, even the right things can lose their direction. The power is not in doing much, but in doing what heaven is guiding. It is written, "But those who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint." That's in the book of the prophet Isaiah, chapter 40, verse 31. Not everything that seems inactive is dead. Sometimes God hides you to strengthen you. He stops you to teach you how to trust. He holds you back to show you that you don't have to force what was already promised. Because what truly comes from God brings peace, not pressure. The enemy wants to see you tired, anxious, and confused, believing that everything depends on you. But the Spirit is saying to you today, let go, rest, trust. It is not your skill that will open the way, but your surrender. It is not your effort that moves heaven, but your obedience. It is written, "Be still and know that I am God." This is found in the book of Psalms, chapter 46, verse 10. God does not need your desperation. He desires your heart to be aligned with Him. And that only happens when you stop chasing what is already yours by spiritual inheritance. The chosen must understand that action alone does not guarantee alignment with heaven. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is to stop, breathe, and draw near to the source. Not to abandon your faith, but to reconnect with what truly matters. Because transformation doesn't come from how much you do, but from how deeply you listen to what the Spirit wants to reveal. When the heart is restless, even holy things can feel like a burden. But in surrendered silence, everything finds its place. What once felt heavy becomes a clear direction. Those who are set apart by God often carry a weight they were never meant to carry. They try to control everything, anticipate every step, and avoid every mistake. But there are moments when even your best effort will not be enough, because some situations are simply out of your hands, and that's okay. Trying to control everything only produces more anxiety. The need to manage every detail is born out of fear. Fear of making a mistake, of losing something, of being left behind. But living by faith is the complete opposite. It means walking forward without all the guarantees. It means accepting that you won't always understand, and yet still choosing to trust. Jesus Himself, before facing the cross, surrendered completely to the Father's will. He said, "Your will be done." That's in the Gospel according to Matthew chapter 26, verse 42. He didn't say that because He wasn't in pain, but because He knew that obedience was more important than understanding. That as the Spirit of the chosen one, it is not about having control over everything, but about surrendering with full trust. It is written, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He shall direct your paths." This is in the book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verses 5 and 6. To walk in faith doesn't mean having everything figured out. It means having peace even when you don't have all the answers. It's refusing to resist what God hasn't yet revealed. It's allowing Him to guide even when the path is unclear. In the end, letting go is not a loss. It's making room for heaven to act. Maybe right now you don't see fruit. Maybe all you hear is silence. But that doesn't mean you've been forgotten. It means God is working in the unseen. It is written, our sufficiency is from God. That's in the second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 3, verse 5. Even when everything seems to be on pause, heaven is still moving. And while you surrender, the purpose of God is drawing near. Jesus gave us a powerful image of trust when He slept in the boat during a storm. The Gospel of Luke says, as they sailed, Jesus fell asleep, and a windstorm came down on the lake. The disciples went and woke Him, saying, Master, Master, we are perishing. Then He arose and rebuked the wind and the raging water, and they ceased, and there was a calm. That's found in the Gospel according to Luke chapter 8, verses 23 and 24. While the disciples panicked, the Savior slept, not because He didn't care, but because He trusted. That is the kind of rest the chosen must learn, the rest of someone who knows that God is in control, even when everything around them feels chaotic. You don't need to convince anyone. You don't need to chase what is already yours. There is a time for blooming, and when that time comes, everything that felt stagnant will suddenly begin to move. It is written, the Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? This is found in the book of Psalms, chapter 27, verse 1. Don't be afraid to pause. Don't be afraid to do nothing for a while. Even silence has a purpose. Those who walk with God learn to respect the sacred pauses of heaven. You're not late. You're not forgotten. You are being prepared. So release the need to force things. Release the fight done with your own hands. Let go of control, of urgency, of the need to be validated, and simply trust. God is already working. There are things the soul recognizes before the mind understands them. If you felt this message, it's because deep down you already know. Comment, I trust God's timing. Like and subscribe to continue walking this path. You are not alone. Heaven has already seen you.